Maybe I should put this here. And this. Okay, that looks better. And I'll put this there. Okay. Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Chris Legaspi. I'm a professional artist, author, and anime instructor. Thank you for joining me today. Today, my friends, we are going to do a little discussion lesson on the torso. So, today I wanted to talk about how I designed the torso to get consistent quality results consistently. That's the main thing. So there's a specific set of things that I do and think about and approach when I draw figures, realistic figures, and the torso is sort of like the core fundamental structure of the body. So I believe if you get the torso right, most of the thing will look okay, you know? So it's such an important part of figure drawing. I spend a lot of time on it. I spend a lot of time thinking about it. I spend a lot of time studying it. And over my 20-year professional career and about the same amount of time teaching, I've developed some systems and some processes for drawing the torso that I believe are quite effective. They're the same things that I do every time I draw, whether it's personal work, whether it's commission work, whether it's work for patrons or clients, fine art work, or for commercial illustration work like movie posters and video games. I do the exact same thing every time, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And I think it's quite helpful, and I think it may be helpful for you. So thank you for being here, my friends. And here on screen, here's the references we're going to use today. And then here's a recent drawing I did for a magazine, just to show an example of some of the way that I approach the torso. It's female back view, obviously. And also, by the way, if you like my work, or maybe you're new to me, you just discovered me, maybe you found me a new masters, maybe you have my life drawing book. Make sure to go to my website at www.drawwithchris.com. I have a lot of free resources, including figure drawing resources, portrait resources. I write a weekly email newsletter now, so you get lots of pro tips that I don't publish anywhere else on YouTube. I only publish them. I only write articles for my email subscribers. So if you like my work, you want to learn some pro tips from me, go to www.drawwithchris.com and enter your email. You'll be good to go. And also, by the way, those of you who are in Europe, anybody in Europe, shout out to our European friends. Make sure to check out my 3-day workshop in Germany coming up June 13th through 15th in Cologne, Germany at the Freehand Atelier over there in Cologne. June 13th to 15th, my friends. So if you want to study with me in person, go check me out there next month in June. All right, thank you for being here, guys. Let's get this stuff out of the way. So this is the demo from the last live stream. It's still on my YouTube channel. Make sure to review that. Yeah, before we begin, comment below. Where are you located? Where are you watching from? Where are you viewing from? And what time is it for you? I am currently in Thailand right now, and it's 3 in the afternoon for me. So thank you for being here wherever you are. And shout out to my European time zone viewers and fans. I appreciate you. I normally don't stream at this time. It's forgive me for being a little bit late today. It's a bit of an inconvenient time for me in the afternoon. I'm in the middle of doing stuff. So I wanted to do this special stream for our European friends this week, obviously because I'm coming to Germany. So if anybody is in Europe, shout out to you, my European friends, or maybe you're in Africa, or maybe you're in the Middle East. Shout out to you, our European time zone friends. I appreciate you. All right, guys, let's get to work. What are we going to do today? So, torso design. That's our topic today, my friends. Torso design. And we're going to talk a little bit about my process, and then we'll do some demonstrations. So, today we're going to talk about number one, what I call the three-section model. The three-section model. Number two, designing the hips. And of course, we also have to design the rib cage. The hips and the ribs, whatever, rib cage. So that's it, my friends. Those are the three things we're going to cover briefly before we do some demos. So what is the three-section model? What is that? What is the three-section model, Chris? That sounds pretty cool. Well, let me get should I get a pen? Let me draw with a pen. I like drawing with a pen. I like drawing with pen and blue pencil. And graphite a little bit. Should I draw with a pen or graphite today? Let me try to draw with a pen. I like drawing with a pen here. So, what is the three-section model? Oh, sorry. So when I draw the torso, I always consider the two most important things in the torso. Obviously, we know the rib cage and we know the pelvis, right? We know the pelvis kind of looks something like that. Something like that. But when I draw figures, realistically, I'm also very aware of this wonderful thing in the middle, which is the abdomen. That's right. You know it. We all know it. In the back, it's the mid-back. The abdomen. It's pretty cool. And I got to credit Sergio Sanchez for this because Sergio Sanchez. So shout out Sergio if you ever see this. He's a brilliant artist, famous for tattoos now. And he's the only person I know, he's the only person I've seen draw torso like this. So when I first moved to Hollywood, to Los Angeles, to learn art and to break into the entertainment industry, that was my goal. I wanted to be a pro artist. Sergio Sanchez, one of the first guys who mentored me, and he was a savage. He is a savage. And he learned from Mark Westermo as well as I did directly. So he was a Riley stylist in the beginning. And unlike the other Riley stylists that I saw, he was drawing the abdomen in a very cool way. You know, when you typically think of the torso, right? The Riley guys, the flat graphic 2D guys will go like this. Oh, okay, here you go. There's the torso, there's a center line, there's this rhythm, there's this thing, da, 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 right? There's this thing. A thing with a pinch with the thing. A curve with two kind of straighty things, right? Or the animators, the other illustrator guys will go, oh, no, 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 no. A torso's not like that. It's a bean. It's a bean, right? We've all seen this bean. This bean, right? We've all seen this. You're like, yeah, that's good stuff. It works. Those both work. But this is what Sergio was doing. And the reason why I like this model, let me get a pencil. It's better, actually. The reason why I like the 3-section model, meaning draw the rib. When I draw the rib. And I draw the abdomen. And I draw the hips. The reason why I like this model, you see it has a lot of emphasis on the abdomen. The reason why I like to put so much emphasis on the abdomen is it accomplishes 2 things. Number 1, function. And number 2, good design. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by function and good design? Hopefully you can see that. So the function, what is the function of the abdomen? Comment below. What is the function of the abdomen? Do you guys know? We're going to talk a little bit of anatomy. So anatomy is important, but the most important thing of anatomy, in my opinion, is not what it looks like, but the function. So abs, the abdominal wall, the abs, your midsection, and then your mid-back, that's anatomy, but it has a function. What's the function? Comment below. This easy one. What is the function of the abs? The abs do this. They take your rib cage and they bring it towards your pelvis. That's the function. That's the function of the abs. And then in the back, they also do this. And you're thinking like, duh, Chris, I know that. I don't need you to show me that. I knew that. Oh, in the back, sorry, it's back here. You have these back muscles called sacrospinalis or erector spinae. You can't bend all the way back, obviously, we know. They're more stabilizers, but these muscles help to pull your rib cage backwards if you want to lean back. So in fact, do this with me now, guys. Do this with me now. Those of you watching live or when you're watching a replay, I want you, if you're standing or sitting, so if you're sitting down, so sit down normally and make sure your upper body is straight. Now, bring your sternum, the center of your rib cage, center of your chest, your sternum. Move your sternum without moving your legs or your butt or your hips. Bring your sternum towards your genitals or your lap. Are you ready? Do this now. Bring your sternum towards your genitals. Bend, 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 bend. Now, what do you feel? You should feel, right, some compression here, contraction and compression here, and you should feel stretching in the back, right? So you see? Contraction in the front, stretch in the back. That, my friends, is a joint. Now, if we go backwards, now this is better if you stand. So stand up. Let's do this one. So stand up nice and straight. Now, you can raise your arms over your head. It might help. Now I want you to bend backwards as much as you can and as comfortably as you can. So bend backwards, bend, 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 bend. Just make it comfortable. Don't go too far back if it hurts. Bend, bend, bend back, bend back, bend back. Reach back if it helps. Reach your arms up. Now you should feel, what do you feel? You should feel the exact opposite. You should feel the exact opposite. You should feel a contraction in your mid back, and your abs should be stretching in the front. Now let's do one more. Let's do one more. Are you ready? Let's do one more exercise before we draw. This is important. I have a method to my madness here. While you're standing, I have a method to my madness. While you're standing, bend to your right. Bend, 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 bend to your right. What do you feel? Of course, you feel a contraction on the right and a stretch on the left. And then reverse. Go this way. Stand straight. Now bend to your left. Bend, 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 bend to your left. Bend, bend, bend. What do you feel? Of course, you feel the exact opposite. A contraction on your left and a stretch on the right. Now, why do I say that? Why do I say that? You're like, Chris, duh, shut up. I came for a drawing video. This is not an exercise YouTube channel. Shut up. Just do that fancy shading thing that I came here to see. Why do I do that? It's because I believe people don't appreciate their bodies, and therefore they don't understand their bodies. So when artists are people, when artists draw, they just go, oh, okay, well, I saw this YouTube tutorial, I saw this Proco video, I saw this Chris Legaspi video, I saw this new Masters video. It said, okay, draw torso. Okay, there you go, yay. But they don't understand the function. They don't understand the function. So for me, I learned anatomy from athletics, and I deeply have an appreciation of the body. So I always approach drawing the abdomen as a joint, because to me, the abdomen is no different than your bicep. It's no different than your bicep. The bicep does this. The function of the bicep is to bring your hand and lower arm towards your upper arm. You understand? So that's what the thing does. Okay? So the abdomen to me is a joint. Now this is important. This will be important moving forward. But I just need to emphasize that the three-section model for me is essentially thinking of the abdomen, emphasizing the abdomen, because to me the abdomen is an important joint. It's a fleshy joint. It's not just, to me, abs aren't just this. Oh, those little cool ab things we all like to draw. And serratus, right? We all just, let's draw abs. Let's draw abs and serratus. Abs and serratus. Abs and serratus. No, it's way more than that to me. To me, it's a joint. So that's why when you look at my drawings feel alive. My drawings feel alive because I understand, I respect the abdomen. If you look at all my torsos, my abs, yes, they have abs and serratus detail, but they feel alive. They feel fleshy. They feel real. That's because I actually really care about the function of the abs. I hope that makes sense. So the abs, to me, I treat them with a lot of respect. And because I treat the abs with respect, it'll lead to the hips and the ribs. We'll get to that in a minute. You'll see why I'm able to draw hips very well, because I begin by treating the abs with a lot of respect. The abs, the obliques, and treating the midsection as a joint. Not just, oh, cool. I don't just go, oh, okay, abs and serratus. Oh, okay, done. Copy abs serratus, done. There you go. No, it's way more than that to me. I hope that makes sense. All right, sorry, rant over, I promise. Rant over. Let me get some fresh paper. Sorry, guys. I had a pretty strong black tea this morning. I'm caffeinated. Forgive me. Shout out to my European friends out there who prefer black tea over coffee, or maybe my Middle Eastern friends who who like black tea. Anyway, so what are we talking about here? I forgot. Okay, sorry, sorry, I got a little excited. So torso design, three-section model. Credit to Sergio Sanchez. Credit to Sergio Sanchez for this. Shout out Sergio if you're watching. Now, so we know the function. The function of the abs. Essentially, the function of the abs is a joint, okay? It's essentially a joint. It brings your ribs to your pelvis, your rib cage to your pelvis, okay? Step 2. What I like about the three-section model is it offers awesome design possibilities. What do I mean by that? And I got to credit my mentor, everyone's favorite, one of everyone's favorite artists, Steve Houston, for this. Is Steve Houston, one of his core philosophies is gesture structure, right? We all know gesture structure, the Steve Houston philosophy, gesture structure. To me, when I draw a rib, when I draw a torso, what we have is structure, right? Structure is hard bony thing, rib cage, hard bony thing, pelvis, structure, and gesture. Gesture, you see? And what is gesture? What is gesture? What is gesture? Gesture is, to me, I define it as relationship and movement. Mostly relationship. So, in other words, because I care and emphasize the abdomen section, I'm able to create a strong bond, relationship between the rib cage and the pelvis. You see how clear and powerful that reads. It's just a simple, crude little drawing. But you see, boom, 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 boom. Maybe from the side, boom, boom, boom. Or maybe bending forward. You see? Boom, 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 boom. Relationship. I can relate the ribs to the hip. I can relate the ribs to the hip, belly button. I can relate the ribs to the hip in a meaningful way. And I can relate it in a cool design way because now we have stretch and we have pinch, you see? So here we have pinch, 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 stretch. This is gesture structure. Stretch here, pinch here, stretch here, pinch here, you see? Pinch, 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 stretch, 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 stretch. This to me only happens because the relationship of my torso, my rib cage and my pelvis, the two most important structures in the body, I would argue, besides the skull, obviously, is because I take the time to design and understand the relationship between the two, which is the abdomen. So that's why I like the three-section model. That's why I like the three-section model. It gives me a good function. It gives me clear function, and it gives me a base to design and organize these two things. So you see, again, to me, it's way more than just, oh, okay, I, I see some cool abs and serratus. Let me draw cool abs and serratus. No, it's way more than that to me. To me, it's like, okay, to me, it's the connection. To me, it's like, okay, this is the bridge between this big bony thing that I need and this big bony thing right here, which you can't see, but I need to communicate it for this to feel real. So it's a bridge. To me, it's a meaningful bridge. So when I look at this, I go, okay, what is the function of the abs in this pose? I understand what is going on. I understand why the abs are doing that because I understand the function. Because I actually care. I actually care about the function of the abs and your mid-back. I hope that makes sense. So we got gesture, structure, we got the relationship. So it does a lot. It does a lot. It does a lot. And there's one more thing, one more cool design thing, which will lead into the hips. Notice here, when I emphasize the abdomen, I'm always emphasizing this part right here. Maybe it'll make sense if I draw it again. I'm always emphasizing this part right here. So we have rib cage, thing, clavicle, whatever, right? You have pelvis construction, right? You notice when I draw, I'm always doing this. Watch this. You see? You see I'm always doing that. You see that? That little mark? And then I'm always doing this mark. If you look at my drawings, they almost always have this mark. And this mark on the other side, we have to mirror it. And this mark. You see, I always have this. Now, what is that? Why is that important? Why should you care? And I always have belly button too. I always have belly button because I need to see. What is that and why should you care? Number one, this mark is also the bridge, the connection, the relationship to one of the most important landmarks in the body, in my opinion, which is the iliac crest. So the crest, or the bony part, the bony landmark of your pelvis that you can see. So because I emphasize the abdomen, I automatically also get at the same time the iliac crest. So you see? That's design is doing less with more. Design is doing less with more. So just with one line, I can communicate two things, actually three things. One, the relationship of the rib to the pelvis, which is the joint of the abdomen. Two, the relationship of the abdomen to the hips. And then once I have this established, this important landmark, then this makes sense, right? The hips make sense. The legs make sense. You're like, oh, okay, now I know which way the legs go. Da, 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 da. And then I draw this part. What is this part, Chris? What is this part right here? What is that? What is that? That is the muscle belly of the rectus abdominis, the bottom of the muscle belly as it transitions into tendon, and then it attaches to the part of your pelvis called the pubic bone, which is sort of like a little structure for the genitals, for the sex organs. So you see? So now, because I always consider the abdominal wall, and I always relate, see, it's relationship. So I relate the sternum, just by doing this, I can relate the sternum all the way up here, all the way down to the genitals. And that's a powerful, beautiful, long connection that holds your drawing together. You understand? So because I emphasize the abs, I get hips and I get the genitals, which relates all the way back to the neck and to the head, really. So now I have clear genitals, clear pubic area, clear sex organs, So now I can draw the legs, no problem. Boom, 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 boom. Legs clear, 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 clear. Do you understand? So that's the game, my friends. This is why if you look at my drawings, and maybe if you're new to me, go look at some of my Instagram drawings. You'll see, look at my nudes or whatever, my videos. You'll see I'm always, always emphasizing the obliques and the rectus abdominis, the wall, and I'm always relating the wall, the abs to the genitals, the abs to the hip, which gives me the relationship to the rib cage, and then that gives me up. So you see, so it's a win. It's a win, 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 win. That's why I like it. That's what I mean by, because I draw the 3-section model in this way, I can get a lot done. I can get a lot done just by spending a few seconds on 1 or 2, 3 marks. I can get a lot done. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's take a drink break here. Man, that coffee is strong today. Black tea is strong today. Okay, what's next? What's next? Oh my God. What's next, guys? What are we doing next? I forgot. What are we doing? Oh. It says torso. I can spell, I swear. I wrote a book. I wrote 2, actually. Okay, number 2. Designing hips, pelvis. Designing the hips and the pelvis. So check this out, guys. This is pretty cool. Now, when I think about the pelvis, I think of 3 construction forms. The hips. Number 1 is a box. That looks awful. Number 2 is a cylinder or a barrel. God, the middle one looks awful. And number 3 is a miniskirt. Is a miniskirt. It's actually a box. Cylinder or a barrel, or a miniskirt. Box, cylinder or barrel, or miniskirt. Miniskirt or lampshade, okay? And that's it. These are the 3 construction forms that I use every time. That's it. That's it. You're welcome. That's it. Simple, huh? We could end the live stream now. You guys got it. It's easy. Easy money. Simple, right? But obvious question is, Chris, when? How? When? When should I do that, Chris? When should I use box? When should I use miniskirt? When should I use barrel? When, Chris, help me, Chris. All right, I'll make it easy for you. Are you ready? So, the box. For me, now this is general. I'm going to put the word general here. Generality. In general, the box for me is perfect for or very good for men. Men or masculine design. Generally. Why? Because it's a box, it's hard, it's boxy, it's rigid. So generally, box is good for masculine design. Of course, sometimes women or female hips will look boxy, and some women, some female models have small hips. Some female models are athletic. They have small hips and are muscular, so they will have more masculine shaped or designed hips. So it's not only for men, obviously, but it's a masculine design. I hope that makes sense. A masculine feel. I'll use the box, okay? What about the barrel? When should you use the barrel, Chris? For me, the barrel is absolutely perfect for seated. Seated. It's beautiful for when the model is seated. You see? Because when you're seated, especially in side view, you naturally get sort of this kind of round thing, and then the thing will be there. So you see? In general, I use this for seated, the barrel. Seated. Seated or side. I hope you can read that. Seated or side. And then this one is the opposite of masculine. Obviously, the shape itself should give it away. It's called mini skirt. And mini skirt, of course, we know is perfect for a more feminine design. You see? It's nice and wide. It tapers, you know? It goes out. It tapers as it goes in. It goes out. And this is perfect for lining up, right, the bulge of the trochanter. You see? That's why I like the mini skirt. I hope that makes sense. So that's really it. This, and this. That's really it. And of course, what makes it all work, what makes it look good, what makes it read is just like I mentioned, because you see, I have a clearly defined clearly defined abdomen section. I treat it with respect. It gives us a nice clear distinction or border between, okay, I know, the viewer knows, you know as the artist, okay, I know I'm going to start drawing the hips now. I need to communicate hips. Boom, boom, boom. You see? Because I do that, and it gives me the iliac crest. So just like I mentioned before, part of the reason why my hips look so good, or my hips read, is because I put so much emphasis on the abdomen. And I just want to quickly mention, sensibility. Sorry guys, people come to my house. I don't normally stream in the afternoon. Ugh. Fuck. Anyway, we gotta move forward. Okay, what's next? Gotta move forward. Sorry guys, I'm running out of time here. Okay, number 3. designing the shoulders. I may have to do the demo in a separate video. Sorry, guys. It's the middle of the afternoon for me. This is a weird time for me. I'm normally doing other stuff. I normally don't live stream in the middle of the afternoon. So I'm, I got afternoon stuff to do. So we're gonna have to cut this short. Sorry about that. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. What are we doing here? Okay, the shoulder. Gotta get my notes out. Designing the shoulders. Okay. So I gotta credit Steve Houston for this. He's the first person to, I gotta credit Steve Houston for this. He's the first person that showed me this, and this is what he calls the 2x4 construction model. What is the 2x4? 2x4 is a piece of wood. In America, you can buy, we use inches, 2 inch by 4 inch. You can buy a piece of wood that's 2 inches by 4 inches thick, and then you can get however length you long. It's a piece of wood. So he calls it the 2x4. And what does he do with the 2x4? He puts it right here, right on top of the shoulder of the rib cage construction. So he constructs the rib cage, right? Construction form of the rib cage, and then he slaps on a 2x4, basically a rectangle, just like that. And that's it. That's pretty cool, huh? That's pretty cool. So I got this from Steve, so shout out to Steve. And of course, Steve's my mentor, so he's the man. So I'm gonna copy him, of course. He's a good guy to copy. And what do we do with that? Why is that important? Why is that cool, Chris? Because this, check this out. The 2x4 construction model for the shoulders. Does this. If we alter it a little bit, boom! You see? What does that give us? That gives us the boxy quality shape. It gives us a very simple construction form, an easy construction form for the pectoralis muscle. Pectoralis muscle, those are your chest muscles. They're quite flat looking. They look kind of like that-ish. They look kind of like that. They're kind of like that. They're pectoralis muscles. And they also give us a construction form in back view. In back view, this is a back view here. Sorry, I know I'm rushing. In back view, the 2x4 gives us a simplification for the scapula and more importantly, we'll talk about this in a minute, but you see how it accomplishes so much. One construction form, one cool design form thing gives us a lot. So that's pretty cool. Shout out to Steve for that. And then once you have this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do the neck and do the thing and do the thing. Then add on the shoulders, do the thing with the thing, and boom, 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 right? Just keep going. But it's a nice base form to work with. And here's a bonus. So shout out to Steve. Bonus design. This is why we love Steve Houston. This is why he's the man. This is why we all want to draw like Steve, learn from Steve. Good news, guys. We can keep going today. Why we love Steve, why the construction form, why the 2x4 model is so cool? Because the 2x4 does this. You see that corner? You see that corner? What does that corner do? It's a corner, right? You know Steve Houston loves corners. He loves corners. There's a corner in the front and in the back. A corner, these are corners. A corner does two things. Number one, it shows us the end, and it shows us bone. Bone. So check this out. Let's do this over here. So over here, because we have this corner, right? It shows us the end. What does that mean? Is that clearly, it's a clear, definitive end of the torso form. So when you draw and you put something boxy up here, right? It tells you and the viewer, okay, that is the top of this thing. That this artist is trying to draw a realistic person. This is the absolute end of that, of the top of his body. So it's a clear end. It's a clear, definitive, strong, clear end. So, okay, this is the end. That's the top. And the corner, right? That's a corner. All right, comment below. Pop quiz. What happens when you see a corner, a hard corner in a drawing? What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Comment below. That tells you a hard corner like this tells you it's something hard and it's bone. When you draw a hard corner on a figure, you are subconsciously communicating to the viewer that, hey, there's possibly a bony thing. There's possibly a bony thing there. And what is that bony thing? Of course, we know that bony thing in the front is the clavicle. So you see, I see so many artists don't use the clavicle. I see so many artists don't use the clavicle. Don't indicate, suggest, or construct with the clavicle in mind, or the sternum for that matter. So it gives us the clavicle when you use the 2x4 model, and it also gives you the acromion. What is the acromion? The acromion is this. The acromion is the top ridge of the scapula bone, which leads into your shoulder joint. So even a layperson, someone who's not an artist or a doctor or whatever, an anatomist, can look at your drawing, and let's say you design your drawing with a hard corner here, they'll look at your drawing and go, oh, okay, this artist is drawing a realistic body, and he's showing me that bony thing near my neck. Like, oh, I may not know what that bony thing is called. But I know I have one. I've seen it my whole life. So you see, it's a clear indication. It's a clear suggestion of bone. It suggests bone. And that, my friends, is good design. When you can suggest something with one or two lines, that, my friends, is good design. So shout out to Steve. That's why I like the 2x4 model. And of course, it won't make sense until you see it. So let's do some demonstrations now. Take a drink break. So we got some reference here. Well, maybe we'll use Procreate. Sorry, I'm trying to load my iPad here. Let's see. We're going to do three. Um, 6 poses. We'll try to get to 6 poses. And we'll do 3 male, 3 female. Okay, here we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. How's the screen? Okay, kind of dirty. Sorry, just wanted to review. I'll probably put this into editing. So, one of the reasons why I like the 3-section model, and really one of the reasons why I'm making this video, is because in my, I've been teaching for a long time, and I see the same, the same mistakes and tendencies in almost every student for the last 20 years. And one of the things I see over and over again when I see students who are new to figure drawing, when they draw a figure, they draw a torso, right? They do this bean thing. They do the bean thing. They say, oh, okay, torso, bean, which is very good. I'm not against it. They do the torso and the bean. They go, okay, there's my bean. And then, okay, so there's my neck. Okay, and then, okay, and there's my leg. Okay, and then there's my leg. And then there's my arm. And then there's my arm. Okay, and there's maybe a breast here. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then I could do some abs. Okay, cool, right? So on the surface, that looks fine. But what ends up happening, what I see a lot, is you see how, like, where are the hips? Where is the pelvis? Not the hips. Where is the pelvis bone? You see, you see how it looks very squishy and weak and not, if you actually look at a human skeleton, the pelvis is actually a big, heavy, gigantic, massive, I'm going to try to draw it from imagination. The pelvis kind of looks like that. Dude, the pelvis is huge. It's oh my God, that looks awful. The pelvis is it's such an important structure for me. Obviously the rib, we all know the ribs are important, but for me, the pelvis is super important. And I see a lot of students, they'll either use the bean, or maybe some of them have Riley, they're into Riley styling, which I'm trained in as well, of course. They'll go like that. They go, okay, here's this thing, and then there's the thing. Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah. And there's my leg, and they're like, and they draw like that, and then they add the shading, and they add the shading, and then they'll add the shading. The leg and butt will be here, the groin will be here, the other leg will be here, and then the abs will be here. And you're like, okay, on the surface that looks fine. But my question is, where is the pelvis? Where is the pelvis? Does this pelvis feel bulky in 3D? Because when I look at a body, to me the pelvis is big, it's beefy, especially especially if you're drawing a female model who has big hips and big thighs. Because really, guys, yes, the rib cage is the most important bone in your body because it holds the most important organs. The rib cage and your skull are the most important bony structures in your body. This holds your brain, This holds very important organs. Of course, we know that. But the pelvis, to me, is just as important. Why? Because the pelvis structurally holds your whole body up. The pelvis has the largest muscle in your body, your glutes, your butt muscle. It's the largest muscle in your body, your glutes. And it contains, or it's the bridge to the largest muscle mass in your body, which are your quadriceps and your rear, your thigh, your upper thigh. So your two biggest, most powerful muscle groups in your whole body are at your hips, which is why I treat the hips with so much respect, because I care so much about the hips. It's because I want my figures to feel powerful. I want my legs to feel powerful. I want my hips and my butt. If I'm drawing a sexy female, I want the butt to feel sexy and juicy. If I'm drawing a muscular male athlete, I want his thighs, his quads to feel powerful. If I'm drawing a female athlete, I want her thighs and her hips to feel muscular and powerful. You understand? So to me, I treat the hips with a lot of respect, with equal respect to the rib cage, which, you know, if you look at my drawings, you'll see that my hips have just as much care as the pelvis. And it's easy. I understand. I understand that why this bean model is so useful for most cases. Why the bean, I call it the two-section model. Why the two-section model is so useful. Number one, because when you look in the mirror, you only see this, right? When you look in the mirror, you only see this. You only see the chest. You see your chest and your stomach, right? This is your mirror. So most of the time when you look at a body, you really mostly care about the chest and the stomach. So you're like, okay, of course, I don't care about the hips. I don't see the hips. And most of the time, if you're not drawing nudes, right? People have clothing. So you don't even see the hips. You don't even see the genitals. You never see the thighs. You see? You don't see the hips, genitals, or thighs. So of course, the two-section model works great for like 80% of cases. Boom. The bean works fantastic. If you don't need to see or communicate the hips, the genitals, this works fantastic. But for me, I really, really care most of the time, especially now I'm drawing mostly athletes now for this series I'm working on. I need to put a lot of love and attention to the hips. So that's why I care so much about the abs and the hips. That's really it. I think one of the things that makes me unique as an artist, and one of the reasons why some people like my work, is because I care. I really care. It's because I care. I don't just look at the body and go, oh, it's a bunch of cool little details that I should copy. No, I go, wow, what a cool human machine. I actually do this. A lot of the things you see me draw, I actually do them. I can't do all of them. But, I actually, I actually use my body. I actually think about my body. I'm constantly aware of my body. I really, really care. I care about muscles and tendon connections. I care about the position of the pelvis and its relationship to the abdominal wall. I care about the shoulder. I had 3 pretty bad shoulder injuries my whole life. So I really, really care about the shoulder and the upper torso. I really do. So maybe that's why I get so ranty at times. But I think that's one of the differences between me and most figurative artists, is that I really care about the body. To me, the body is something to revere. It's something to revere. It's not just an object to copy draw. It's something I deeply, deeply care about and understand. Let's do some demos, guys. Let's do some demos. Should I use blue pencil? I really like blue pencil. Let's use graphite today. All right, guys, let's do some demonstrations now. Let's talk about, we'll demonstrate what I do with my thing, what we just talked about. And forgive me for the censorship, guys. Social media doesn't like my old accounts. You know, forgive me. I know it's awful to censor, but I'm being censored. What can I do? This is the only way I can keep YouTube from striking me. I've had so many strikes on my social media. Probably it's a miracle you're watching this because I don't get fed. You know, when you get a strike on social media, your account gets shadow banned for 90 days. You get, yes, that is real. The social media will punish you every time you get a strike. So forgive me for the censorship. I am being punished. I'm in YouTube jail right now. So I'm very grateful those of you watching live who can see this video because I'm not getting fed because I get so many strikes from trying to do helpful things like teach drawing online, and YouTube strikes me. So that sucks. Anyway, sorry, rant over. Okay, let's do some demonstration here. What are we doing here? All right. What are we doing here? How do we design this torso? So we got a little gentle curve, little gentle shoulder line, little gentle thingy, hip line. So subtle contrapposto, very subtle. Mine's a little too much, a little too exaggerated. Subtle stretch. Subtle pinch. So you see, I start with the two-section model. It's a very basic graphic shape. And then I go, okay, let me construct a rib cage. I typically do like that, a little bird cage. Or if I need to, I will construct or simplify the opening. So that's my rib cage construction form, the beginning of it. It gets more nuanced as we get up here. And then here we go. So even though there's not a lot of pinching going on, you see I naturally flesh out the abdomen. You see? Genitals here. And what should we use, guys? Remember? Comment below. What should we use? Remember, the hip construction can be a box, can be a barrel, or can be a mini skirt. What would you do? This is an easy one. This is an easy one. Comment below. What would you do? Box this. If you want to draw these hips, you want to construct these hips, would you use this, or this? It's an easy one, right? Easy. We all know. That's an easy one. We know the mini skirt works for this particular pose. You see? Boom. Easy money. Easy money. Easy money. And then the opening is like this. The opening is like this. The abdominal wall is like that. You know, and then we go down, right? Easy. Easy. Now let's do the top. Let's do the 2x4 model that Steve Houston showed us. So clavicle. There it is. Little 2x4 model. Pectoralis muscle, which is hidden underneath breast. Boom. 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 And then, of course, we want to relate the breast. We want to relate the breast to each other. And then we can add a nuance to the clavicles because they don't go this way. They go, kind of this way. And then we have the neck, boom, 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 boom. And then we have the point of the shoulder. We go boom, 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 boom. Down, 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 down. You see? Easy money. Easy money. That's how we do it, my friends. That's how we do it. Easy. Very simple. And you're like, Chris, that's so fast. Well, I wrote a book, by the way. If you're watching this, you're new to me. I wrote a book. You're like, man, this is a lot of stuff. How can I learn from you? How can I study? I want to learn more. Well, I wrote a book, and it's pretty good in my opinion, but that's a biased opinion. But it has over 100 five-star reviews. Life Drawing for Artists. It's basically all of what I just talked about is in my book. So go check it out. You can buy it on whatever bookseller you like to buy. It's in 7 languages now, I believe, as well. And there you go. You see how the mini skirt, set us up to do beautiful thighs? You see how the mini skirt set us up to communicate this, right? It's right here. You can't see, well, you can barely see it. That's okay. You see right here, see where her finger is? Where her finger is, right there? She is squeezing, she is pressing right on top of her iliac crest. You see that? That is awesome. You see? Easy money. Easy money right there. So that's easy one. Front view, basic, easy. Let's do another one. Let's do another one. Let's do, should we do male or female? Let's do male front view. Let's do male front view. Male front view here. And again, sorry for the censorship, guys. Forgive me for the censorship. I got YouTube strikes. They gave me a strike. I made a teaching video just like this. They gave me a strike, and I couldn't live stream for 24 hours. So if I get more strikes, my YouTube will be shut down. So forgive me. I appreciate you for being here. Those of you who can see my posts, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. But I do have to censor from now on, at least until I start a new account. All right, so male in front view. Let's go. Let's go. This is easy money right here. Easy money. So we got shoulder line, little hip line kind of thing, right? You see? So we can start with the bean model. We can do that. I don't like that. I like more of the Riley flat shape model. Boom. 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 There we go. We look good so far. Pretty good. 2-section model. The center line. I'm going to drop the pec line just so I can better, I need that pec line because it's clear. We have a lean muscular male. So we have a nice pec line. I might as well take advantage of it. I need that there. Well, it'll help me to design my rib cage construction. So we're skipping steps a little bit. So rib cage construction, just a basic rib cage form in the right position. You know, when you watch me draw, I draw these things in like half a second, and you're like, oh, Chris Legaspi drew that in a half a second. I'm gonna draw. There you go. No. I only draw it fast because I can clearly look at this and go, oh, I know exactly what that rib cage in exact position in 3D space. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not, it looks like I'm drawing quickly, but I am. But really what I'm trying to do is carefully communicate the position. And I can't emphasize this enough. And I learned this from Steve. I didn't make this up. Steve is the first one to teach me the importance of communicating clear position. So the position of the rib cage, meaning, you know, the position of the rib cage in 3D space can make or break your drawing. So we got to get the clear position. We got to draw the correct shape in the right position. And then now I can flow down. I have my ribs. I have structure. Now I can flow down using my 3-section model. Shout out to Sergio Sanchez. 3-section model. down to the hips. So here we go again, guys. We gotta construct the hips. Should we use, comment below, mini skirt, barrel, or box? This is easy one. This is an easy one. Comment below. Should we use this? Should we use this? Or should we use this? Hmm? We could use all three, really. They all work. But which one is a better design? All right, someone wrote box. Thank you. Correct. Of course, the box is the best designed thing for this model. Of course. Easy money. Easy money. Boom. Easy money. You see, mine's a little bit exaggerated. That's okay. So now we got the thing. We got the obliques, right? You can see this is obliques contracted. But you see that oblique? See that little line? You see that little line right there? That little line right there? That's this, my friends. Flowing into the abdominal wall, belly button. Flowing into the genitals, which we don't need to see. Iliac crest, boom. Iliac crest, boom, 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 boom. Opening of the leg, boom, boom. Done. Done. Hips done. Hips looking pretty good so far. You know, we can add butt detail. We can add the thing. We can add the thing and the thing and the thing. All right, now let's get to the chest. Let's get to the chest, upper part. Steve Houston thingy, 3x4, 2x4 model, works great for men. So actually his rib cage is arched back. So really we can't see too much of the top plane. We can't see too much of the top plane. So I'm just going to do this and this. And you see, just if we were to stop drawing here, and someone were to, some layperson, someone who's not an artist, would walk in the room and see this, they go, "Oh, this artist is trying to draw a man." You see how clear and crisp? Just because we use this beautiful designed construction form, it communicates male right away. That is money, my friends. That's how we do it. Then, of course, we need some nuance. We need some refinement. So we drop down the clavicle. Clavicle is not straight. It kind of curves downward, bends downward. And then that gives us, once we have the clavicle, that gives us the necky thing. My head is, I should have started with the head. Forgive that. That looks awful. And then we get the thing, the shoulders, right? The shoulders. We have the thing, the shoulder, the thing. The corner gives us the thing, corner of the shoulder. Boom, 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 boom. And there we go. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Easy money. Now, wish I could find a pencil. A colored pencil. Pencil sharpener's a mess. Now, because we have good construction, now we can do that cool shading stuff that everybody skips to. See, everybody skips to this part. They don't do the designing and the thinking. They just, oh, I see cool shadow shape. I draw cool shadow shape. You know, we don't do that. Well, I don't do that. And maybe you've someone watching got a critique from me. You know, I have probably said this to you. I'm like, hey, you're doing way too much copying and not enough designing. So you see how beautifully everything just fits when you can design construction forms that communicate quickly what you need to communicate. I can just get to this stuff and it just makes sense. It makes sense you know, I have an idea of what's going on. Sort of. I got a little bit lost with the belly button here. You see? Now we can do that cool, sexy shading stuff. Boom, 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 boom. I'm not going to shade it, but I just want to show you. You're like, oh man, Chris, those construction demos are so boring. I came here to see that cool shading, hatching thing that you do. I saw you do on Instagram. You see? Easy money. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Easy. Boom, 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 boom. Easy. You see? You see, it just works. It just works because my design is so clear. Because the design of my forms is so clear, all the sexy stuff is easy. Comes easier. Ah, go away. Okay, should we do back view? Let's do back view female. Back view female model here, easy. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. Sorry for all the ranting. I get so excited, you know. It's very fun to talk about drawing, you know. It's very fun to talk about drawing. That's my two favorite things in life, is to draw things and to talk about drawing things. So I appreciate you today. All right, what are we doing here? Okay, let's do another demonstration. Female back view, easy money right here. Let's see. Let's see, can we apply the 3-section model? All this cool design stuff. So first we need the action, the whoosh, the thrust, the gesture, what's going on. All right, that's easy. Yeah, I appreciate you guys watching live. Sorry I won't be able to interact with you too much here on the live there. I'm using my phone actually, not a computer. So there's not a lot of, actually the pinch is on this side, huh? So she's actually kind of stretching this way a little bit. This is a cool pose. So what is happening here? Okay, so we know the hip line is here. That's clear. Therefore, the shoulder line must be doing this. Have a little bit of contrapposto. What's happening? I'm not quite sure of the side-to-side movement. So let me just get some shapes down so I can think what to do next. This is a bit more complicated than what I thought. I know I'm skipping a couple steps here, but I just need to kind of see where I'm at. I kind of need to see where I'm at so I can make some decisions here. Really, I should start with the head. Typically, starting with the head is a better idea, but you see, it looks so, it's so messy when you try to put the head on afterwards. When I draw, typically when I draw, I start with the head now. If I do like a serious drawing. Anyway, so we're pretty close. So okay, let's see where we're at here. So we got the rib cage. What is the position? We know it looks kind of like this. We can see some of the side of it here on the right side. We can see a little bit of pinching on the left side. Okay, oh, I understand. Okay. Oh, this is cool. This is a cool pose. So what she's doing is she's bending this way. So the rib cage is kind of in this position, so I'm pretty close. Back view. Center line is like this, so we can see center line clearly. And what she's doing is she's actually she's seated, but she's puffing her butt out. She's scooting her butt out, her hips out, to make her butt look bigger. So this is a professional model. I believe it's Betty Page. So she's a professional model being photographed. So she knows how to subtly alter the position of her hips to make her butt look bigger and juicier. This is what I mean. This is why I like using a 3-section model, is because when I draw with a 3-section model, it gives me space and room for the hips. So if I need to, I can make the hips feel big and sexy and round and juicy. Make the butt and the thighs. If you're drawing a sexy female model, you want her to feel sexy and you want her butt and hips to look good, right? You want junk in the trunk, as they say in America. You want some junk in the trunk. And you would not believe how often I see this, you know, from students who send me drawings, and they draw sexy women with little tiny hips and flat little butts. I'm like, what are you doing? that's not that's not that's not what the model's doing. You know what I mean? So you see? Oh, I'm gonna use the barrel. You see how the barrel works nicely here because I can see the side plane. So the barrel works nicely. The mini skirt too. So there's a bit of a mini skirt, but there's a bit of a barrel. But why I like the barrel is because it's seated, and I need to see the leg in this position. I like the barrel because it allows me a clear pathway into the thigh. So because I use the barrel, now I can lead nicely into the thigh, which is a part of the hips read. So I need the thigh to get these hips to read. This is quite complex. This is a lot harder than I thought it would be. If I knew this was this hard, I wouldn't have picked this photo. Shoot. And then we have rector spinae here. Okay, so let's see. Can we use the 2x4 model in back view? In the back view, I prefer more of the. We can't really see the top, huh? Can't really see the top. So in back view, I prefer more of. I learned this model from Kevin Chen. So in back view, I use a slightly different construction model. Maybe we'll talk about that in another video. I use more of the Kevin Chen construction model. So shout out to Kevin Chen. He's the first one to show me a really elegant way to draw the upper back, 'cause it's super complex. So sorry about that. I didn't get a chance to explain it in this video, but if you guys want, I'll definitely touch on it. It's super important, drawing the upper back correctly. Okay, so that was a bit complex. But let's see. So we have the rib cage in the right position. We have the abdomen stretch on one side, pinching on the other. Abdomen pinching on one side, stretching on the other. This one seamlessly transitions into the hip bone. We can't even see the bulge of the hip right there. It's so smooth. Seamlessly overlaps the thigh. On the stretch side, and then we have the chair here. On the stretch side, we have the stretching, and then this is more of erector spinae. So there's an overlap here because she's pushing her butt out purposely. So this model is purposely positioning her hips to make her butt look bigger in this picture, which is cool. That's what we want. If you're drawing a sexy woman, you want to exaggerate her sex appeal. Duh, of course you do. Just like if you're drawing a macho, masculine male model, you want to exaggerate his masculine feel, whatever. Same thing. When you're drawing a male model, you want to make the shoulders a bit wider. So when you're drawing a sexy female model, you want to emphasize the hips. So you see? Okay, so that was tough. That was tough, I'll admit. These are the sacrum triangle, and Yeah, this drawing could use some work. Wow, it's a bit more complex than I thought. I hope that makes sense, what I'm trying to do here. It's this stuff right here. Um, because this is so complicated, to me, the upper back and shoulder is even more difficult to draw than the hand. So I have to use a lot of I have to use a lot of different techniques to make the shoulder read correctly. So which we didn't touch on here, but this stuff is looking pretty good. You can see how the abs feel nice and pinchy right here, nice and pinchy. We have the correct. If we add the core shadow, we can feel the correct form of these erector muscles. They're called erector spinae. They're these long vertical back muscles that keep your upper body erect, straight, and then you have a bunch of other difficult, nuancy things to draw here. And buh, 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 buh. So obviously the shadow helps, but I hope you can see the construction form. The design of the construction forms helped me to manage this complicated little beast. This is tough. This is tough. So let's do the next one, and hopefully it won't be as complex as this one. Let's end. We've been drawing a long time, huh? Let's end with a female side view here. Let's end with this. We got a lot of. This video is probably like 3 hours long by now. Oh my God, it's an hour and a half. Shoot. Thank you for sticking around, guys. I appreciate you. Okay, let's do one more female side view here. All right, what are we doing? What am I doing here? What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, yeah. Okay, this is easy. This is easy. Okay, so we got the stretch, the gesture, the thrust, as Steve calls it. The surface she's on, the top of the thing, top of her shoulder. That's my rough shape. Let me draw the head this time just so I make sure it doesn't look retarded. It doesn't look really bad. Okay, so that's my rough shape. Let's keep going. Let's construct. So let's use our 3-section model here. Let's see. I'm gonna put a little opening for the arms there. That just kind of tells me where the opening of the arm will be. It's a rough estimation. I need that because that'll show me where the breast is. The breast there, and then that will help me because I'm trying to find where I'm at in this drawing. And then that'll help me find that corner of the rib cage. So I hope you can see that. It's right there. The corner of the rib cage, pretty obvious. Actually, her whole bottom of her rib cage is quite obvious. And then on the side, we got this thing, which is her scapula teres major, big back muscles around the scapula bone. But more important than that, I just need that there so I can better judge this. What I need is the inside here, or the back side of the rib cage. So I needed this to help me find this. Okay, so now I got the rib cage. I'm good. For the pelvis is it's actually hidden. So these are one of those cases where the pelvis is so hidden that it's really not that important. To me, in this pose, when I look at this pose, the most important thing really are the legs, getting the legs to read and feel and connect right. So, because right here, this is all fat and tissue and muscle. There's so much fat and compression. It's hiding all of the rib cage, pelvis detail. But we can see the iliac crest. Can you see that? It's right here. It's right here, little iliac crest. Can't see that. Abdomen is hidden. Not hidden, but we can't see the abdominal wall too much, but we are looking at the obliques, the side abs. And then this will give us a nice transition. You see how it flows nicely? I drew it as a curve, but I don't have to. It felt curvy at that time. Gives us a nice transition into, I guess we can use the box of the hips in this case. Box of the hips, the opening, and then all of this tissue is compressing. So I want to be careful here. And this may be confusing to those of you who are new to anatomy or figure drawing. You would be like, crap, what is happening here? I can't tell. Yeah, it's hard to tell because that's really, her anatomy is being hidden because she's squeezing all of her fat and muscle and tissue outward, so it's hiding all of her anatomy. We just see a big bulge of tissue, stuff. So that's okay. That's okay. As long as we get the hips to read, and then the hips will give us the correct position of, where the thigh should go. It'll kind of help us to draw the thigh. And there we go. And there we go. So we got that, and we get all this beautiful detail right here. Oh boy, that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to design and simplify. But look pretty good there. Let me see if I can get a decent pencil sharpening. Okay, thank God. And where does her arm go? So at the top, we can't really see the 2x4 model, but we see, so even in side view, I use more of the Kevin Chen model here. If you never heard of Kevin Chen, he's a brilliant artist from LA. One of my mentors back in the day. Oh, this is tough. Okay, so we'll close with this, my friends. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you to our European friends here watching live. I appreciate you. Or on replay. This is scapula teres major, cast shadow. There's this big bulge. I believe it's trapezius right here. There's this big bulge in her back right there. I believe it's the contraction of her trapezius. Hard to tell. Very hard to tell. Oh, that looks awful. Sorry, I'm trying to rush. I'm rushing. I should draw slowly and carefully, but I don't want these videos to be 10 hours long. This one's already pretty long. And then the bottom of the rib cage, you see how it flows nicely into the obliques, side abs, and also erector spinae back here. So you see, because I also emphasize, my proportion's a little bit off, because I also emphasize the abdomen, I'm able to get a nice clear read. This is cast shadow. This is fat. What this little bulge is fat. This is also fat and muscle and tissue. This is fat, muscle, and tissue bulging because she's putting weight right here against the surface. That is such a cool pose. Iliac crest, pelvis. Underneath, interior, I believe they're called intercostal ribs, the bottom of the ribs. I believe they're cartilage, they're not bone. Could be wrong. Abdominal wall. Transition into the quadriceps tendon, the thigh. Obviously, hair of the genitals, pubic area. The thigh transition. That is a tendon transitioning into the thing. I'm not quite sure how big her thigh will be. I need to do some measuring and thinking and find some information, but we're pretty close. And yeah, this is all light here. I believe this muscle is called coracoid brachialis. I believe. It's a muscle in your armpit. How do I know there's a muscle in your armpit? Because I got an injury there. I had to look it up. It's kind of fun. That's the one good thing about getting sports injury, is that it all of a sudden you have more free time. You can't move, so you have lots of free time to study anatomy. That's what I did. When I get injured, I always study the anatomy of the body where I'm injured. I'm like, crap. Now it looks like I'm copying detail, but I'm trying to get organized here. I'm trying to see where I'm at. I just need these little ribcage details. There might be serratus too. So I believe this is a contracted lat muscle, I believe. Could be wrong. I believe this is a rib cage bone. So she's quite lean. Obviously, she's very lean. And it's the underside of the rib. As it's turning away, it's an egg. Oops. And then let's see if we can describe this stuff. And we'll close with this. This is very fun right here. So I'm going to try to describe all of this mass and have it read correctly. So how do we do that? So this is a bit more rendering than it is construction. But I know there's a big mass of form here. This is fat, mostly fat, skin, and some muscle. So I'm going to draw that first. I can see it. Part of, part of design is knowing what you're looking at. So it does help to know anatomy. And then I could see this is one of the quadriceps. This is a quadricep tendon, I believe. Could be wrong. One of the tendons of the quadriceps that goes into the iliac crest, the hip bone. And then this is a cylinder, so there's going to be some tone here. There's a crest or the peak of this cylinder form known as the obliques, the side abs. It's a crest right there. There's an indentation right here. This is the abdominal wall separated from the obliques. So just a little hint of that. And then, so this is all bulging tissue. So this actually needs to be a highlight. So I need to keep that nice and bright. This is all like bulging tissue being lit from above. So as long as it's nice and bright, it'll feel correct. And I give it some hints of halftone. You see? You see how it just, it's suggested. It's suggested. It's suggested. It's not 100% accurate by any means or whatever. It's not anatomically perfect by any means, but it's suggesting, hey, a big, heavy, tissuey form that's being compressed against a surface or an object. It reads. It reads. It's designed well. It communicates. Therefore, that's my first job, in my opinion. If your drawing reads, that's your first job. If it looks like the thing you're trying to draw, that's your first objective. And we have that, my friends. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the comments and the support. Thank you for watching, staying with me 1.5 hours. I appreciate you. And I'm not quite sure what we're going to talk about in the next video, but you can definitely message me, and I will make a video on whatever you guys ask for. That's what I do. And don't forget to check me out on drawwithchris.com. If you're still here, I appreciate you. Sign up for my free newsletter. You'll get lots of stuff like this for free. I write a lot of articles that I don't publish on YouTube. I publish them privately with my private email, and I write, the deep, high-level pro stuff. So maybe if you're a beginner, you won't like me. I won't be as valuable to you. I do tend to attract more advanced artists and people who are serious about working in entertainment and things like that. So there you go. Drawwithchris.com, my friends. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.